Well, you can't beat the feeling of soft sand between your toes, palm trees gently swaying in the breeze, the warm sun on your face, and the sound of waves lapping against the shore. Welcome to the very wonderful, the very laid back, and the very unique Island Life by Kaz64. Now, before I begin with the tour of the map, there are always a few thank yous from Kaz. Firstly, his right-hand man, Old Aussie Gamer, aka Perrin, Old-Timer Dave and Outlaw Buck, who I know give him tremendous support and do endless testing on the map before it's released, Stevie and Farmer Andy for placeable mods, and Kaz's Facebook group and supporters. And I'm going to give a special mention to Carol Caroline, who I believe asked Kaz if he could make an island-style map many months ago. So we probably have Carol to thank for sowing the seed on this one. There are a few things to note before I get started. You'll need Global Company installed for this map. It's Maize Plus and Maize Plus Forage Extension ready. It's Seasons ready, but I'm not sure if there's a custom geo actually. I guess you'd need something kind of tropical, lots of rain in the off season. And it's also Precision Farming ready as well, and I think it has a custom soil map. Now, a few basic points. It's a 16x map, and we'll go and have a look at the PDA in a few minutes. There are 5 islands separated by waterways but connected by road, rail and bridges. There's 124 fields on the islands, small to large in size, but more on the small to medium size I would say. Now I say on the islands because there are other land purchase options available, which I will come on to when we look at the map, something that makes this map very different and very unique. Now, plot prices vary from just under $12,000 for the smallest field up to $1,794,000. It's a multi-fruit map, like all of Kaz's maps, and it does include grapes, as you would have seen on Land Down Under. There are plenty of sell points around the map, nicely spread out across the 5 islands, and we'll take a look at some of those in a little while. Now, the shop does have opening and closing hours, which Kaz tends to include on all of his maps. So the shop opens at 8 AM and closes at 9 PM. Now, you cannot buy or access your garage outside of those hours. And in addition, the animal stockyard also has opening hours, which are 9 AM to 8 PM. If we take a look at the map, you can see that there are 5 separate islands that vary in size a little bit, the largest of which is up in the kind of top left-hand corner. And you'll probably be looking at this thinking, well, it's a 16x map, but about 60% of it is water. But that's one of the unique features, which I'll come on to in a minute. Now, if I zoom in just a little bit, you can see that each of those islands are all connected by a series of kind of roadways and bridges. And you can also see the railway line here that's in kind of red. There's one section that runs around the top islands, and there's another railway that runs around the 7 islands, all kind of interconnected with various bridges. Now, if you start in new farmer mode, you start here kind of in the middle with field 7 and 8. If you start in farm manager mode, you don't get any of that. You get your starting balance, you get the main silo, and that's pretty much it. Now, the unique feature about this, and something that I'd like to point out that is really quite special, is if I go into the buying mode, all of a sudden you will see that there are a whole load of additional plots of land that surround those islands that you can purchase, and all at fairly reasonable prices as well. Some of the larger ones are about $400,000. One of the ones up in the top corner here, that's just over $500,000. But nothing that's kind of too expensive when you think that field 74 is the largest field on the main island, that's just 1.794 million. Those plots of land surrounding the islands in the sea are not that expensive, and the reason for that is it obviously costs quite a bit of money to use the landscaping tool to raise the land out of the sea. So if any of you are familiar with landscaping, you can raise the ground, and that's literally what you do. You purchase the block of land and you raise it out of the sea so you can convert it into additional fields or space or do whatever you want with it. Now, the one thing that you do have to do is that you do have to own the pieces of land that are on the island that are adjacent to that block. So as an example, if you wanted to buy this block that's kind of here, you would have to own field 41 and field 40 in order to be able to expand out into the sea in this location, and I'll show you a little bit of that later on in the video. Now, if we just have a little look at the various crop types as well over in the right hand menu here, you can see that all the regular crops are included, from wheat down to sugarcane. There's also carrot there at the bottom, and then on page 2 we've got onion, clover, lettuce, red cabbage, rye, poppy, hops, tobacco, hemp, coffee, rice, mustard, alfalfa and red grape and white grape at the bottom that you may remember Kaz introduced on Land Down Under. If I just zoom into the map in a little bit more detail, you can see that all of the sell points are nice and spread out across the islands, so all fairly sort of easily accessible through that network of roads. And you can see that the animal husbandries are just a little bit further north of the main farm, just above field 3 there, and we'll go and take a look at those in a minute when we do a tour of the farm. Just a couple of other things that I'll mention quickly on the map. There are 2 areas of forestry. The one down the bottom in the south that's just below field 103, and another one that's up in the north just below field 73. Now they're not particularly big, but there's enough there to be able to get your teeth into. They do include quite a lot of palm trees, which we'd probably expect on an island map, but you can cut those down with a regular chainsaw. Now Kaz has also put 5 circular fields down the side of the bottom kind of left-hand corner, fields 95 through to 99, which are a little bit different to what you normally get on a map, and they are to represent the 5 different islands on the map itself, which is quite a nice, unique feature. Now, if we take a quick look at the selling points, there are 10 in total for the kind of regular crops, and then in addition to that, you will see as I kind of scroll down the list, there are a further 9, so 19 in total. And then if I look at the actual product types as well, or your produce, in addition to your regular crops as well, you can see as I scroll across the top, there are a whole host of other things that you can sell. So all your animal produce, all your straw types that are for maize plus and forage extension, plus other products like seeds, TMR, fertiliser, pig food, straw and hay pellets. So plenty of products to sell, including red and white grapes. Now let's take a little look at the main farm that you start with in new farmer mode. You start on the house and the sleep trigger is immediately behind you in front of the main door there. You can't go in the house, but that's where the sleep trigger is. Now off to the right hand side we've got our garage or kind of carport. So there's a couple of 3 spaces here in total, so plenty of space inside for your vehicles. Now I couldn't see a workshop trigger kind of on the farm itself, but there is one to purchase in the shop, and there are also plenty of other kind of options that you've got on the mod hub, but that would be an obvious place to put that workshop trigger down by the side of the garage there in that lean-to. There's a diesel sell point here as well. Now Kaz does mention that it costs a little bit more to buy your diesel there than it would down at the regular garages. In front of us we've got the main silo. I really like this. I think it's got some fantastic attention to detail really around the back here, and this also links into the train network, as you can see. Now both of the train tracks run past the silo, so it is linked into the trains. If you ever look at the gantry at the top there are kind of 2 outputs there, or augers that come out. There's a dark black one which is for the far side track, and then there's the grey one which is for the inner track, and some really lovely attention to detail out the back here, bits of junk and some chairs and step ladders and all that sort of stuff, so really good. And then coming into the main farm itself, we've got vehicle storage sheds, so a lot of vehicles as well, a lot of machinery. I'll go through the loadout in just a little short while, but 2 good sized sheds here that have got all your equipment in. There's a little pond that's just out the back here where the Aquatrans tank is. Now that tank is a modded version by Kaz and does hold other liquids as well, like liquid fertiliser and diesel, milk, etc. And then we've got one large shed that's in the middle here as well for some of your bigger machinery. As you can see, it's got the combine and the header in here and the truck and trailer, but plenty of space in there, so you've got some good machinery storage. And just around the outside here we have also got a couple of buying silos. So this one is for fertiliser. You can get liquid fertiliser, solid fertiliser, herbicide and lime at this one. And then just over the other side of the shed, closer to the house, then we've also got a buying point for seed as well. Now again, Kaz has priced these slightly higher because they're convenient and on your farm than you could get if you were buying big bags down at the shop. So just be mindful of that. And the shop itself is not far away, actually. It's kind of just down the road, a few hundred yards, so it's not that far to go and pick items up. Now if you start in farm manager mode or in start from scratch, then the only thing that you will get is the farm silo plus your starting budget, of course, but you don't get the house, you don't get the garage, you don't get any of the machine sheds or any of the farm equipment. Now if you do start in either of the other 2 modes, Farm Manager or Start from Scratch, then there are plenty of placeable options available around the map. Some are down on the actual coastline itself, some of them are a bit further inland, and they're all pretty reasonably priced as well, which is perfect if you want to have a multiplayer game set up. But I'm just going to pop up in the air and we'll take a little stroll down the road over the railway line here. Now there's a turning coming up that is on the left hand side. Now just down there is a liquid storage area. Now Kaz always includes these on his map, and they're normally pretty close to the main farm itself, so that's there if you need something to store all of your liquids. There's a sell point that's just on the left hand side there, and if we cross back over the road we'll come to the animal husbandries. So the calf pen is just over there on the left hand side. We've got the ducks that are immediately below us and the chickens over there. Now you don't get any animals actually included. The animal husbandries are included, but you would need to purchase the land as well in order to be able to take the produce from these various animal pens. And so we've got the cow shed here as well that you might recognise from Land Down Under if you played on that map. They've all got good capacity as well, so you wouldn't have too many issues there. And just coming up here is the sheep pen as well. Now all of these are available and buyable in the shop menu as well, so if you start your farm somewhere else then you'll certainly be able to use these. And last but not least, right at the end here, then this is the goat barn as well, so plenty of options for your animals if that's something that you want to get into. Now if we turn round and head off in the other direction just down the river here, you might just see slightly in the distance over the top of the bridge is the BGA, so that's pretty handy for the main farm as well, so and easily accessible down the road here. So quite a big area. You've got plenty of bunker silos that are there on the right hand side. The drop off point is on the left hand side where these domes are, and then you can see the digestate collection point that's just over there in that back corner. So a good option and nice conveniently located if it's something that you want to do. So that's the main start farm, really nicely laid out I think, plenty of space but plenty of storage as well, and just to reconfirm, just down there down the road on the right hand side are where the animal husbandries are, and if you go ahead and straight over the river on the road and just off into the left hand side, then that's where the BGA is. Now if we turn around in the opposite direction and just look down there, then that's the shop. Very close and convenient as you can see, and if we veer off just down in that direction and take the road down there, then eventually we will come to the animal stockyard as well. I'll just take a quick look at the machine loadout as well, the equipment loadout. So you get the 4 tractors. I think this is fairly standard for Kaz. This is kind of the equipment that he's typically included in his more recent maps. So I think Wild West, Land Down Under, etc. So you start with your 4 tractors, you've got your truck and trailer, you've got your combine, you've got these modded versions of the TDK 1600 by Kaz, which has got an increased capacity to 24,000 litres, and the Yoskin Aquatrans, which has got an increased capacity up to 12,000 litres and can take all of these additional liquid types as well. You've got both your headers, cultivator, planter seeder, and all of these other items as well. So pretty good equipment loadout as you can see, and then in addition you get all of the animal husbandries included as well. So that's pretty extensive and a good starting point if you want to be in new farmer mode. Now if I just go and have a quick look at some of the additional equipment in harvesters, because we've got grapes as an additional crop type, you've got this lizard class grape harvester here at the end, which you will need in order to be able to harvest those grapes. There aren't any other additional harvesters in that section, but in the sugarcane technology you do have the Eco Ideal Sugarcane Plus, which you will need if you want to be able to swath the straw from sugarcane. So if any of you have played in Land Down Under, you may remember that you can collect the straw from the sugarcane and create cane mulch, which is something I think quite specific to Australia. So if that is available on this map as well, and if you want to do that, then you will need this particular combine, and you will need the Quasar HS16 sugarcane header as well. Now this combine will also do all the regular crops as well, so you won't need 2 combines. You can use this one to do your regular crops at the same time. Now if we just go into the placeable section as well, if you click on animal pens and scroll along, you will see the additional animal pens that have been added in at the end here, all these ones that say mod. So you can purchase those if you set up your own farm. And if we go into miscellaneous section and I scroll along, you'll also be able to see the diesel storage, the fertilizer tank, the gas station and the seed tank. Now please note at the bottom here it does say refilling will cost you a higher price for seed than buying it in big bags at the shop. so just bear that in mind. In silos, again, if you scroll through to the end, you will see the main old multi-fruit silo by Kaz, very reasonably priced at $80,000, and also the modded bunker silo that's in the BGA. I don't think there's anything in decoration that's been added specifically by Kaz, no. In sheds, again, if you scroll along, you will see the farmhouse garage that's in there, the open fronted shed, and the large double door shed as well. And then last but not least, in farmhouses, you'll find the old farmhouse, which again is very reasonably priced at $30,000. I'm just going to take a little trip down the road, just have a little drive around. So first up is the shop, which you can see is very close and convenient to the main farm. So that's just off on the left hand side here. There's a couple of entrances, one just up here on the right, and then there's another one that goes out onto the bend just down the road. So as I said beforehand, this does have opening and closing times, so outside of those hours you won't be able to access your vehicle menu, and you won't be able to get access to the shop to purchase or buy anything, so be mindful of that. Shops open from between 8 AM and 9 PM. That's the shop buying point there, and here is your work trigger. Nice detail inside the shop as well. Now I'm just going to pop down the road a little bit further to the bale sales, which again is pretty convenient, nice and easy. There's another one of those placeable areas that's just off on the left hand side there, so that's quite convenient to the main farm as well if you were doing a multiplayer setup or something like that. So we're just going to head over the little river here, and just the other side on the right hand side is the bale sales. So that's where you can sell all your straw types and everything else like that. But in addition to that, there is also a buy point here as well. So as we just turn in, just on the right here, you'll see the kind of checkered area where your sell point is, just there on the right, and straight ahead of us there is also a buy point here, so where you can get all your kind of straw types that you might need for your animals. So just pressing your R key to bring that up, and as you can see, the whole host of kind of straws and feeds that you might need for your animals, so you can come and purchase those here, so that's nice and easy too. Now I head off out of here. I'm going to travel back down past the shop. We're going to turn right and head down the road, turn right again, and that will take us to the livestock market, which is very similar to the one that Kaz used in Land Down Under, so you'll probably be familiar with that as well. So we're going to go back over the road, back past the shop, and a little bit further down the road on the right hand side, and that will take us to the animal stockyard. So here we are, just coming up on the right hand side. You can see there's a little pond here as well where you can come and get water if need be. So animal stockyards just here. There's a kind of an in point and an exit point as well. And like I said beforehand, there are closing hours on here as well. It's open from 9 AM to 8 PM. So that's your loading point for your animals. Then directly ahead, this is where you can sell all your animal feed types. So everything's kind of available there to come and sell. And then if we just turn around here, there is also a buy point for your animal feed as well. Now, just to confirm, it's more expensive to purchase than it is to sell. So you can't buy here and then quickly turn a profit by selling it back at that sell point just behind us. So just be aware of that. It's not kind of an opportunity to kind of cheat the system. So Kaz deliberately kind of made the buying prices higher than the selling prices. There are a number of railroad crossing points that don't have any kind of warning or signals on them, so you need to keep an eye out for the trains when you're crossing these, just in case you get sidelined. I'm just going to nip down the road and go to one of the selling points as well. It's just down here, just one of the regular selling points. And whilst we're driving around, you can kind of see that there's some really nice attention to detail. I love the telegraph poles. I think they're really nice, old-fashioned style. And you can see that the land is kind of nicely, gently undulating as well. So it's kind of not flat or anything like that at all. But yeah, really pretty. And you can see just across the road there as well, there's another one of those placeable areas. So there's plenty of those that are scattered around the map and everything. So just going to pull in here very quickly. So this is fairly typical of one of the selling points that are dotted around. And like I said, there are plenty of selling points to go to. So you're not short of places where you can go and sell stuff. One other thing I wanted to point out as well, that's regarding landscaping, is that Kaz has kind of put the grass in as a 4-stage growth process. So when you use or paint grass in landscaping, it'll go through 4 stages of growth and end up looking like the flowers that you see in front of you. So not the weeds that are kind of behind it, but just the small white flowers. So that means that you can kind of match things up if you do any landscaping and painting. The other thing as well is that there is this slightly rougher kind of sand texture as well. In addition to the sand that's on the beach, which is fairly kind of flat and smooth, we've got this one available as well, so you can kind of match and paint to the same kind of style that you might see in some of the placeable areas like that across the road. So it does mean that you can kind of match things up when you're doing some landscaping and painting. Now I just want to touch on the railroad as well, because it is quite important to the map, and I think this is the first time that Kaz has included a railway on one of his maps. But it's important in terms of the selling and transfer of your produce, because it's linked back to that main silo at the main farm. So if we take a little look at the map, you can kind of see, just as an example, that up in the top left-hand corner where we've got fields 74, 75, etc., there are there's a field 4 station, so that's kind of a drop-off point, a transfer station really in silo, where you can temporarily store your goods and then transfer them to the train. And then just below that is off-the-rail sales. Now that's a selling point specifically for the trains, so you can transfer your goods around to these selling points and obviously sell your goods and produce. Now those selling points are actually on the tracks themselves, so they're not really suitable for kind of regular trailers or anything else. You can see a little bit further down there's a second field station there, and there are a number of these that are kind of located all the way around the map on those 2 rail networks. Now, to ensure this video isn't too long, I'm not going to go and visit every single sell point, but you can see from the PDA that they are nicely spread out across the 5 islands, and there's a good selection of sell points right the way throughout, and some really nice attention to detail. So I'm just going to fly over a few of them so you can see how different they are and how unique they are. And I think you will agree that this map really does have quite a different feel to it, with these islands separated by the waterways, joined by the bridges and the roadways, and you can see the attention to detail that's gone into it, particularly all these nice palm trees that really give it that nice island feel. Lovely sunsets in the evening as well, and one of the features that I really do like that it's quite different, in addition to the railway, is this lovely little hot spring that Kaz has put in as well. I guess quite a lot of kind of tropical islands and things like that are sat on kind of volcanic areas, and you quite often kind of get these kind of hot springs and things like that kind of crop up. I know that there's certainly some in New Zealand where Kaz is from, so I'm guessing he might have got a bit of inspiration from some of that, but a really different and unique feature as well. So the last thing that I want to show you is just how you can purchase those blocks of land that are out in the sea. Obviously a very unique feature to this map, which I think is absolutely great. So one of the first things that you do need to do is you need to make sure that you own the land next to the actual block itself that you want to buy in the sea. So if I just go into the menu here, what I need to do is I'm going to choose this piece of land just down the bottom here. Just sort of south of field 100, but in order for me to be able to convert that or raise that ground out of the sea, I do need to own the 2 pieces of land that are directly above it. So I'm going to buy that. That's a placeable area, that one there, and I'm going to buy field 100 as a placeable area. And then I'm going to buy this block of land here as well. So now that I own all of those, I can go out and I can start to landscape along this kind of coastline here where the beach is, and I kind of need to work my way from the beach out into the sea. So I'll just go into the landscaping mode. Now, if you're not that familiar with kind of landscaping, there's various things that you can kind of do in terms of directly lifting the ground using your mouse. So you can raise it using the left-hand mouse button. You can lower it using the right-hand mouse button. You can use the smoothing tool, which is very useful, and I'll show you that in a minute or so. And then you can use the flatten tool. Now, for the purposes of raising the ground, starting at the beach and moving outwards, I've actually found the flattening tool to be very useful. Now I'm just going to scroll round move out and just kind of go down a little bit further, and hopefully this will okay. I can increase the size of the dome as well, and hopefully if I hold my 2 mouse buttons down I can start pushing this out. Now the reason why I am using the flattening tool is that it takes the height of the beach and raises the ground to the same level. If you start using the raise button only, then you'll start kind of lifting the level of the ground a lot higher. So as you can go out, you can see I can kind of just start to go out further and further out into the sea and raise this land. But by holding those 2 mouse buttons down, it kind of does it all at the same level that is in the sea. If I raise it, I'll just show you, that happens. So you can start to get kind of very uneven levels, so I always kind of find that that's not an idea. If that does happen, just come back a little bit to the lower ground, press your 2 mouse buttons and go back over that patch, and it will smooth it all back out again. I'm just going to hide the menu. And I can just go and kind of scroll all of this out. Now the one thing that you will see, it's a bit faint up in the top corner, but my money is obviously going down quite a bit as well. But hopefully you can kind of keep the costs fairly low by just holding and using that flattening tool by holding both of your mouse buttons down. You can kind of see the money is kind of going down fairly quickly, so you do need to be mindful of that. But that's why Kaz has kept these plots of land out in the sea at fairly sensible prices, because it does obviously cost you to raise this ground. Right, now once we've done that, if I just go back into the map, you can see it doesn't really show up on the crop types because we've got no crops on it at the moment. It doesn't really show up from that perspective. So you can't see that additional piece of land that I've extended out into the sea. What I need to do now is actually take a cultivator and create the field itself. So I'm just going to pop into start the tractor up. I am just going to go out onto that block of land. I'll start on one of these edges. I'll fold the cultivator down. Now you do obviously need to ensure that allow create fields is clicked correctly by using your Y key. Just get rid of that, and then if I drop down, there we go, you can see that that's now going to start ploughing up this piece of land. And I can kind of do this as far out as the land goes, and obviously you can do whatever you want within the landscaping tool in terms of painting textures, so you can put grass down around the edges, you can put, if you've got some mods included in your mod hub for placeable trees, then you can obviously start placing trees and things like that and kind of really making it quite nice and different. Okay, so I have just completed this piece of land here, as you can see, kind of out into the sea. Now, this John Deere cultivator is in the plough section, so I've been able to use that to enable the create fields. But you can get a mod in the mod hub that allows regular cultivators as well to create fields as well. So you don't have to be restricted to ploughs and things like that. I'm sure many of you know. So that's all kind of completed now. Now, if I go into the map, you can see now that I've zoomed in. If I go to the kind of growth menu, you can see that this new block of land now is kind of registered as ploughed and is sticking out into the sea, so that you can now kind of see that that's appeared. Now, once you've kind of created these pieces of land, for those of you that do use courseplay, then you can set a new course generation or field perimeter, which you can then record and save, and then that would enable you to be able to use courseplay to kind of do your work out on this new bit of land that you've created out in the sea. So for those of you that do like courseplay and do use it regularly, then you can certainly do that. So that's just a quick overview of how you can kind of reclaim some of these pieces of land that are out in the sea. I will be doing a few more videos on this to see how creative we can kind of get with converting these plots of land. But that's it for the map tour. I hope you've enjoyed it, and it's given you a good indication of how wonderful this Island Life map is by Kaz64, and that you'll be encouraged to download it and give it a go. So thanks very much for watching. I hope you enjoyed the video. If you have, then give it a thumbs up, and if you haven't already subscribe to the channel, then please do so. So thanks for watching. Whatever you're doing, wherever you are, stay safe, take care, and I will catch you on the farm next time. Bye for now.